Hello and welcome to this week's Tarot Talk, where we are going to be talking about the transits taking place from February the 1st through to the 7th. And we start off the week with a bang. I already talked about this a little bit last week, but we are in the circus of the Leo full moon, which is happening on Sunday the 1st at 13 degrees. And this is not a subtle full moon. This lunation is going to be loud, dramatic, theatrical, all of those Leo cliche keywords that rightfully so get assigned to the sign of Leo. It is a moon to be in your courage, to be in your passion, and to step forward with a fieriness that is authentic to you. This lunation is doing a couple of things. For one, it's making a trine to freshly ingressed Neptune in Aries. So there's an element here of something glamorous, of maybe even glamour for the self. If you've ever done like a glamour spell, you know that. It is a way to adorn yourself with this energy of beauty, this energy of confidence, and this energy of stepping forward as the character that you most wish to be. Except it's not meant to be temporary with this lunation. It's actually almost like an unveiling of who you've always been, but you just needed that little extra sprinkle of encouragement or energy. So this feels like that encouragement. And Leo in and of itself is very courageous. And so this lunation is going to ask us, what is this like glittery, glimmering version of ourselves that we want to download into the physical present moment now that has maybe been existing in our fantasy realms of, oh, I wish that I was brave enough to go out and wear that thing or go out and do that thing. I feel like this trine says, why don't you just pluck that from the imaginal realms and embody it? So there's that trine. This took place on the 31st. And then as we got into Sunday, February 1st, Luna is making an opposition to Pluto, Mars, the Sun in Aquario. And so with these oppositions, there's going to be a really big theme about how we show up courageously in the face of a radical moment in time. Some would call it a revolution. I like to refer to it as a renaissance of consciousness because that is really what it is. A lot of us have already been privy to a lot of the things in the system that were broken, or the system in and of itself needing to be completely done away with and restructured. And a lot of people are starting to see things in their entirety and to really get the full scope of how certain institutions and systems are operating and how they have intentionally been operating for a very long time, and coming to the realization that that doesn't work. So there is this ask right now that we remain in our power and remain in our courage, and at the same time show up that way when we are out in the world exchanging ideas and communication with others via in real life or online in platforms. And there is this tension when we have not just Luna opposing Pluto, but Luna opposing Mars and the Sun as well. There might be this ask for taking action or stepping forward in a way that it is so much more intense and powerful that we have never really experimented with before. But this lunation is going to almost catapult us to that place where we kind of just have to take that action and be brave and go for the thing. And with Neptune being a trine here, I almost would like to encourage you to say, think of your favorite video game character. And maybe at some point in the video game, you unlocked a new skin. And this new skin bestowed you with powers and with tools that you didn't have at your disposal before. But you're about to go, I don't know, meet a final boss or something, but you now have that skin, except you haven't played around with it yet. You're not exactly sure what it can or cannot do. This is your opportunity to explore that and to really embody that and know that when you're moving from that heart, that courageous lion-like place, that is the light that you need to illuminate the path forward. Unofficially, but still by whole sign aspect, this lunation is also opposing Venus and Mercury in Aquario and in a square to Uranus and Tauro. So our relationships and our communication, our finances are also going to be themes in what is pulling us out of our old shell and into this new version of self. And with that square to Uranus, it's likely going to be disruptive. It's going to be unmistakably there. It's not subtle. It's not going to be something that we can just brush off or ignore. So again, this lunation is theatrical. It feels a little bit like a character arc. And I think that we are all undergoing this inner transformation all at the same time. But of course, whatever part of your chart that Leo falls into, you will feel it through those themes more acutely. I suppose you can interpret most of this delineation if you had something like Leo rising. However, if maybe you have Leo in the second house, you are finding empowerment through how you make money or place value in yourself or in your belongings through how you move through the world. If you have Leo perhaps in your 10th house, you are being asked to be seen in a more prominent way. If Leo is maybe in your 9th house, then you are being invited to step forward into a new venture that is going to demand that courage or that bravery and maybe asks you to come face to face with whatever challenges in your neighborhood or in your immediate surroundings might not be quite ready for you to transition into that, but it's time. Just a few examples. This is a very pioneering and assertive lunation, and so this is a good opportunity as well to assimilate our experiences thus far and to evaluate who we are in our journey at this time. If you have any prominent placements at 13 degrees in any of the fixed signs, Leo, Tauro, Scorpio, Aquario, this lunation will be very pointed for you. And ultimately just observe what it is that you are ready to release and what you want to bring in a little bit more of. On Tuesday the 3rd, Uranus and Tauro stations direct at 27 degrees. Uranus has been retrograde for a minute now, but now that it's direct, it is getting ready to go into Gemini, and these are the last final degrees of it being in Tauro. It will not be in Tauro again. So we've likely been seeing a lot of innovation, destabilization, surprises, shocks, or shakeups in the Taurus area of our life, be that where we find comfort, what we consider our comfort zone, our places of safety. If you have Tauro in the 11th house, then maybe Uranus has been shaking up your social circles and the way in which you make friends and build community. If you have had Uranus and Tauro in the 7th house, your one-on-one relationships and your business contracts have been disrupted throughout this time. So as Uranus stations direct, we can finally move past a certain obstacle or a certain destabilizing moment and continue forward into Gemini. And while Uranus still has a little bit of time left in Tauro, this is a really good time to reflect on what has been kind of shaky in my life and what has fallen away in order to make room and space for something new. I like to think of Uranus as a planet that shakes away what is old so that something fresh can come into play. Whatever our comforts and our sense of stability has been, it is jolted as Uranus comes to direct station, and we are propelled forward into the unknown, but albeit a necessary step. And Uranus is always going to be a proponent for change and growth. And this is what this moment presents to us. On Thursday the 5th, we have Mercury in Aquario making a square to recently station direct Uranus and Tauro. This is happening also at 27 degrees. And so there might be something about this Uranus direct station that is very loudly communicated on a collective level, to the point where even if you weren't paying attention to the fact that Uranus stations direct, if you see something shocking or surprising out in your community, in the world, in your one-on-one relationships, that'll kind of be the marker, thanks to Mercury, who's holding up a microphone here, broadcasting that Uranus is finally moving forward. So you might have some disruptive conversations, or something about a piece of information comes to light that just plugs into an equation that you might have had for your life that just throws it all for a loop. This is, again, necessary. Sometimes we need these breakthroughs to have a eureka moment on how we want to move forward or what it is that we need to change, but it's a square, so there is a little bit of tension. Sometimes this can soften the blow in terms of how easily that Uranian energy is communicated to us. This is a good day to pick your words very wisely, and especially in how you navigate online and with technology and in your communities at large. This is a moment where nothing is going to be communicated in a soft and subtle way. It's going to be very direct and very clear. And because Tauro and Aquario are both fixed signs, there's an element of a standoff here, or maybe even a bit of stubbornness as Mercury tries to convey the messages of Uranus, but something there might not flow so smoothly. So just be prepared to remain flexible and be adaptable in your dealings, and feel free to postpone an important conversation or a contract or anything that is in those mercurial themes until after this influence passes, because most likely than not, there's an element of surprise here that something might happen that you didn't really see coming. Then on Friday the 6th, Mercury goes into Pisces, where our conversations and our ways of thinking are compassionate, embedded with fantasy and whimsy, but also curiosity and a level of creativity that is necessary for human life and humanity. Mercury doesn't do its best in Pisces in the sense that it is a very logistical, analytical planet, and it likes systems and order. And we all know that Pisces is very much not that. But the beauty of Pisces is that it can expand our mind and it can expand our horizon of this rigid form of thinking or speaking and take it to another realm, a necessary realm, most likely, that we need in this time. There are conversations that we are having right now on topics that are extremely sensitive and really emotionally heavy. And it never hurts to have an element of compassion and empathy in how you are conveying your feelings or communicating your ideas about how we move forward, not just on a collective level, but on a personal level as well. This is a really good time to write down your dreams, to pick up a hobby that exercises your capacity to translate your emotional realm into something tangible so as to keep the river of your internal waters flowing. So that's on Friday the 6th, and that actually concludes the week. Everything that's happening feels important. It's a very mercurial, very fixed sign moment. And so as you navigate these energies, I invite you to pause, to ground. As always, that's always going to be my advice, but also to be really mindful of not overly consuming chaos and not being another performer in the circus, but to observe the circus, if you will. I say this as somebody who adores circuses, but when life starts to feel like a circus, you don't really want to be in the ring, right? Maybe you want to be the ringleader, maybe you want to be the audience. Who am I to say? Maybe you want to be one of the clowns that's jumping around. I know I play that role very often. But what's important here is that you are intentional about what role you're playing so that you don't get swept up in the loudness of it all, in the chaos of it all. Again, this is going to be a very charged and electric week, so whatever it is that you need to do to attune to your calmness, to your baseline of where you like to exist within your nervous system and within your body, then please do that. Now we are going to draw a card just to see what it is that we most need to know for this week. Yeah, I'm geeking because hello, this is Leo's card. This is so serendipitous. I adore it. We have strength. So this is highlighting the lunation that is taking place on Sunday. It is not something to underestimate, and it is not something to brush past. Take the energies of this Leo full moon as a portal to step into a permanent new version of yourself. And I say permanent in the sense that you're not going back. This doesn't mean you aren't going to expand further, but it's a new version of yourself. How can you look into the mouth of the dragon unflinching and say, I am capable of standing here and I am capable of hearing what the dragon has to say and face it head on. There's no need for me to hide or play small, because in that moment when we hide or play small, we are doing ourselves an injustice, and it's a survival tactic, absolutely, that we likely developed as children in order to survive. And it's no longer necessary. And when we show up in our power and our bravery, unflinching, that is so much more of an impact throughout the world than you can even imagine. So whatever courage or bravery you are summoning within yourself at this time, don't downplay it. Know that it is not just impacting and changing you, but it is impacting and changing those around you and life around you. And that is how we expand into the future and welcome in an earth that is so much more heart-centered. I'm a very big proponent for keeping like-hearted people around me. And I say like-hearted as opposed to like-minded because I'm open to learning something new through someone else's perspectives that differ from my own. And maybe those perspectives are really harsh or really different at first. But if I can get to the base of what they're feeling and it's coming from that same place of ethics and values and respect for life, then I can learn something new. Whereas if someone is regurgitating something that sounds very similar to what my own belief systems are, but I connect to their heart and I realize that their heart doesn't value the same things that I do, then there's a huge disconnect there. So much more greater than if somebody has different ideals than I do. That is also something to maybe meditate on. And how do we choose the people that are in our circle? Are they like-minded? Are they like-hearted? Are we allowing ourselves opportunities to grow and expand through differences, but still with that same intention of loving one another and respecting life and respecting the earth and the plant kingdoms? I can't go without talking about the animal kingdoms here. There's literally a lion. And I don't like to interpret this card as, strength prying open its mouth. I almost see it as like when your pet gets like a thorn on its paw and you have to take it out of its paw, but it's like biting at you and it's growling and it doesn't want to do that. But you have to be strong for the both of you. And even though there's pain there, you do what's necessary to heal that wound or to take the action that's necessary to eliminate what is stifling growth and forward movement in order to heal and to develop a closer bond or relationship. Whatever way you might choose to interpret the strength card, however it's landing for you, it's absolutely a nod to this full moon that we're having in Leo. And it just feels like a very full circle moment here. So walk in your strength, walk in your power. What is something that does challenge you in your day-to-day life to be in your bravery, to be in your full, radiant, sun-like essence? Is there something in your life that tries to stifle that? Are you ready to set boundaries there or maybe even walk away from it? Is it something that you can just say, you know what? I am complete. I no longer accept this. I'm walking away towards something new. Or is it more difficult to where it's like, I can't necessarily just cut things off with this situation or this thing so cleanly. It's going to demand that I step forward in a different way. Whatever way you choose to approach it, the strength card is here as a little bit of a lucky charm saying, you've got it. It's within you. All you have to do is activate it and bring it forward. And it's okay if it takes time and it's okay if it takes practice. It's not going to be perfect initially, but the more that you do it, the more that it is revealed as a new baseline for who you are. I hope that all of that made sense. I think that this is, like always, a very powerful week, one to be connected to our source and our essence as much as possible in the face of so much in our world and our reality in flux at this time. Connect to yourself, connect to the earth, connect to your loved ones in your community, and I encourage you to really play with your dreams, especially now that Mercury is going into Pisces. If you would be interested in a one-to-one consultation with me, check out my website. It's audisalaris.net. I have different consultations there. We can schedule a one-to-one, and I would love to talk stars with you. Otherwise, I will see you in the next Tarot Talk, and until then, sending you so much magic, so much love, so much strength, and so much courage, and I'll see you soon. Cuídense.